it's Denise Brown at the Leading Edge team at RE/MAX up in Whistler. How are you? I'm sitting with Eileen Craig again from Cedar Sky Mortgages, and today we are talking about people that have purchased a property before and non-resident buyers. And we're assuming that you have purchased a property before in Canada, or are going to be buying a property in Canada, but more knowledge in your head about the buying process. If you want to understand the differences in Canadian and US mortgages, that's another video, go look for that one. If you want to understand what a mortgage broker does, that's another video. If you are a first-time home buyer, that's another video, so look for those. And of course, at any time, you can click the link below and ask for more information because we are available. So today we're going to assume that you already own a property in Canada and may be buying a second home, or you live overseas and you're buying a second home in Whistler. So let's just touch so you live in Vancouver, for example, or somewhere in Canada, and you are saying, I want a property in Whistler. What would be really the first step or first thing that they should know, with you as a mortgage broker? What would you be asking again?
We'd be looking at what type of property are they buying.
Right.
Are they going to be buying, is this a rental? Is this a second home? Where is the down payment coming from? Are we going to be refinancing your existing home? So there's a bunch of different things that we'll look at. But again, we'll be getting all their financial information and checking out now what various liabilities you have. The type of property you're buying here is going to determine what lender we go to, what type of mortgage we look for you, and that's the beauty of going to a broker. Especially with our Whistler properties, we've got a number of different property types.
Yes.
So by chatting to me, we're going to determine what's the best thing to do.
Yeah, so as you may have had a discussion with me about, we have some of the hotel type properties. We have regular condominiums and townhomes that people live in, and homes that people live in. We also have properties that can be rented by the night, that are Airbnb style, where you can do that. And of course we have vacant land. So when you combine those 6 different types, it gets a little bit complicated. So Eileen generally knows who's got what available at what time.
Yep.
And when we talk to her about, okay, so-and-so is going to be looking at buying this, can you help them with financing? And I will go, yes, I can. And then Eileen was talking about earlier where her application is online, so you can fill it out anywhere. And then Eileen gives you a call the next day and says, hi, it's Eileen.
Yes.
And I need some information. I need to ask you some questions about how I can help you.
Yes.
And goes through the process. Now, both Eileen and I both work on let's do the work before we make some big decisions. So she is going to ask you for some documents up front, and they are actually.
They're going to be, we're going to want your taxes. Last 2 years of income taxes. If you're a business for self and you have a corporation, we're going to want your financial statements. We're going to be looking for all your full financial picture. So if you've got mortgages, we're going to be looking for kind of current mortgage statements. All your documents, so that we've got a really full picture and know exactly what we can do for you. Generally, when somebody calls us, their first question is, "What's your best rate?" Well, that depends. That depends what kind of property you're looking for. That depends how you qualify, what type of mortgage you're looking for. So there's a lot of information we're going to need before we can even answer what's the best rate.
Yeah.
And rate isn't always the determining factor, right? That's it depends what your needs are.
Yeah. And another thing on top of the type of property is that some properties, though they look like a cow, they're actually a duck, right? They're like the hotel properties. You think, oh, that's just it's a room in a hotel. It's a condo. It's actually not a condo. It's a hotel property that actually is run by the hotel as a business. So it's actually not just a condo in a hotel. that you think they're just going to rent out. It's actually a business, so that's actually different financing again. So that cow is a duck. So, you know, it's just that local knowledge, that local expertise where we know it's a duck.
Yes.
So that's where...
And who will finance ducks?
And yes, and exactly. Who will finance ducks? Because, you know, Whistler is an old preacher and can be a little bit ducky.
Yeah.
And so we like to know where we can buy ducks. We'll get financing to buy ducks.
Yes.
So anyway, Eileen's an expert at that. So we have a lot of people that will come up and have a look and narrow their search down to a type of property. And then the financing decision may be the make or break. So it is good to talk to Eileen early on in the process about what you as a person have, meaning your personal situation, whether you're self-employed or receive a salary, or you know how much money is in the bank. We buy in cash, or a little bit of mortgage, or whatever suits you. With Eileen, and she'll tell you what information she needs, and then she can actually. So we're calling it a soft pre-approval because Eileen knows that based on your information and the backup that you're giving her, what the banks are going to say, essentially.
Yes.
Now, the reason she's being that, on the nose with the information and her request, it's not just because she's been a pain in the neck. It's because...
Or that I'm nosy. Yeah.
Or that she's nosy. Is because, you know, in the last couple of years, the rules have changed and everything's got more strict. So we have limited time for a lot of people that ask for information. So to be able to give you the service that we want, to be able, you need to give her, you know, the information, and then she's able to answer your questions properly.
Yes.
So,
and the more sophisticated the buyer, generally the more information they have.
Right.
You know, they may have different companies, they may have a trust, so all of that information is going to be reviewed by the lender, and they need time for that.
right.
So we want to get as much information up front as we can.
Yeah. And so when they say, I'm going to buy a place for Christmas and it's December 1st, I hope that we've already had a conversation with Eileen and everything's all organized. So we found the property and it's like, yes, I can do that because that's happened. You know, actually, it happens a lot every year.
Yes.
So that's very interesting. So we're talking about getting everything done earlier. And talking about rates, I know we're not supposed to go, what's the best rate? But if I was to buy a regular residential home right now, and it wasn't nightly rental, and it's not a second home? It can
yes.
be, it's not a second home. It's not a second, it's my primary residence that I'm going to live in. There's some rates.
We do have some rate specials. The spring is often a time when banks do their mortgage campaigns. So right now we've got a 5-year fixed rate at 3.39, maybe 3.44. If it's an insured mortgage, we're probably not chatting about that right now, but
an insured mortgage. See
see
previous video. First time home buyers.
3.19. Yeah, so we do have some rate specials out there now.
Yeah, so it's specifically residential primary residence, someplace that you're going to live in full-time,
Yes.
Canadian.
Yes.
So that was
3.39.
3.39 on a 5-year term,
Yes.
amortized out over 25
Oh, and we
years.
also have a 3.19 for a 3-year fixed.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's good. It's almost free. Anyway, well, not really, but anyway. But anyway, it's a great rate. So springtime specials. So we're going to move on to a quick question about non-resident buyers. So
Okay.
of course we have people from overseas or our friends in the United States who come up and buy some real estate up here. And I'm going to say 2 things first. One is that we do not have a non-resident tax that they do have in the Lower Mainland. So we don't have that. So you're saving 20% by buying in Whistler.
There you go.
There we go. So 20%, we don't have that non-resident tax in Whistler. We just got missed. The line went around us. As well as we do not have a vacancy tax. So that line went around us too. So when people think that it's all of British Columbia, you're going to have to pay 20% more, that's not true. Okay, so that was my pitch. So come and buy in Whistler, you don't have those. And then with Eileen, so if somebody says, how much do I have to put down if I am a non-resident buyer?
Non-residents typically need 35% down. So, and there's a reason for that. As a non-resident, the bank never wants to have to come back for you.
Yeah, I say it's hard to get you if you're across the border.
Exactly. So they want to know that you've invested at least 35%. Chances are you're not going to default on that mortgage. Statistically, you're not going to let 35% of your money go to waste.
Bye-bye.
Exactly. So that's their minimum. They want you to have a vested interest in your property. And then very similar to a Canadian buyer, we're going to look for your full financial situation. We're going to want your tax returns, any mortgage statements. We're going to want a credit report from the country you're in. If you are in a non-English speaking country, we are going to need all your financial information translated.
Oh.
So they will require a translated document.
Is there a company that does that for you here, or do they have to get translated back home?
No, they want it done here.
Oh, so you'd be able to refer them to somebody that does that?
You know, I don't know.
Maybe we need to research
We
that.
need to research that, yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can research that. That would be a good one.
We haven't had, oh, no battery, had an issue so far, but most people are able to give us English documents, but none of the banks will accept them.
Well, I can understand that because I can't read them.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And then do they look at the currency exchange too? Because if it was an RMB, for example, are they going then to change it into Canadian dollars, for example, just roughly to kind of get an idea of the income and
yes,
blah, blah, blah.
we convert. We can convert the income easily. That's no problem. And you can send your application to us in the currency of your choice, and then we'll convert that over here.
Okay, I see.
And then the application goes in Canadian dollars.
Okay, so then in addition to 35% down and having the same or similar information as to what Canadians have, do they get access to the same mortgages, the same rates as everybody else, or
yes.
do they have to pay more?
The only reason they're paying more, so you're not getting charged any more than a Canadian would if they were purchasing a rental property, because you can't live in it as your primary residence. It's either a second home or a rental property, and you're going to pay a slightly higher mortgage rate. Generally about 0.25.
Oh, so like a quarter of a percent.
Quarter of a point, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not
a big deal. Yeah, so you're not going to like, I'm getting gouged because I'm a non-resident.
Not at all.
No, okay, good. And is there anything that's otherwise really different as a non-resident buying as far as the financing aspect is? I just say it's more paperwork. Right, buy here it's easy, it's just more paperwork. And 35% down.
Yes, and you're going to need to have a Canadian bank account.
Oh yes, and you do that when you see me.
Exactly, when you're visiting.
When you're coming here.
Yeah.
And you also, at the same time of visiting me, should get a copy of your passport and other identification. Have a quick scan by a lawyer, which we have relationships here, can do that. Or at least give me a copy of it, and I go, yes, I've seen you, yes, you are you, right? Do that. But the easiest thing to do, and the most important, I think, or one of the most important things, is the bank account, because it's very difficult to open one up at home in Canada.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So when you're here, even if you don't proceed, open up the bank account.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to open the bank account. You can always close it later if you don't need it. But
or they'll close it on you if you don't do anything, right?
True. Yes. If it's dormant for too long, they'll close it on you.
Yeah.
You're also going to need to be here in Canada to complete your purchase.
Right. That's new.
Yes.
That's been new in the last year.
Yes. Yeah. Canadian banks do not want their documents signed out of country anymore, so they will want to have you here to sign in
Now
person.
that's in Canada.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean in Whistler.
That's correct.
Right. So if you are in the U.S. and you're in the Washington State area, pop over the border into a lawyer's office that I've referred you to. That's just over the border. If you are on the other side, East Coast, pop over the border. If you're flying in, whichever stop is easiest. But you can always come and see me in Whistler, and we'll say hello, have a cup of tea, sign the document, see you later.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do, come for another trip, that's fine. But it doesn't actually necessarily have to be right in Whistler.
Correct. Yes. Anything else for non-residents?
Currency exchange. I'm going to say this,
Okay.
currency exchange. You don't necessarily have to use a bank. There are currency exchange houses where you might be able to negotiate a better rate.
Okay.
So that's something that we did a lot of in the early 2000s, and the relationship we had sort of ended. But I have a new contact, so maybe we'll move into that. But saving on the currency exchange or getting a better rate, that's always nice too when you're sending money into the country.
And an accountant. As a non-resident,
Oh,
we're going to
yes.
hook you up with a Canadian accountant.
Yes.
Because if you're renting your property here, you're going to be generating income and you'll have to file a Canadian tax return.
Yes, so income tax return. And also, as we go on to that, if you are renting a property up here, you are a business. So you actually end up having to get a business number and a GST number. And that's a whole other conversation. But the lawyers and the accountants help you with that. And they are very experienced with non-resident owners having to get GST numbers, doing their income tax returns, and understanding all of the process attached to that. So you'll be fine. But we'll introduce you.
Perfect.
So I think we've covered a lot there.
I think we have,
We
yes.
thought we just had one or two things to say about that.
No, but we had more.
we had more. So it was great. All right, now, Eileen, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Denise.
sitting down with me today. And we'll see you later. Any
Bye-bye.
questions?